Behind me is likely the most important chart in all of crypto, and nobody else is talking about it. I know this because I made this chart behind me. There is a bullish and a bearish interpretation of this video. I've already made a video on the bullish interpretation. If you haven't watched it, I will go ahead and link you to that at the end of this video. The two videos, the bullish and bearish interpretations of this chart, go together, but I've separated them. Again, stay tuned until the end. In this video, I'm going to go over why I think it's more likely that even though this chart behind me is bullish, I'm interpreting it in a bearish sense. How can I get to that conclusion? I'm going to show you multiple reasons why. Let's go get this Bitcoin. I went more in depth on what this chart is in the bullish interpretation because there are fewer things to cover for the bullish interpretation. So if you haven't watched that video, it does go more in depth. But essentially, this is Bitcoin versus the S&P 500. It is similar to how an exponential moving average is faster moving and more exaggerated than a simple moving average. This is essentially the exponential chart of Bitcoin versus the US 500 or the S&P 500. And I made this chart. I don't think anybody else is covering. I know clearly you can see behind how to make it yourself. So if you want to do that, this is a very, very important chart. So in general, Bitcoin has underperformed the stock market. So everybody's thinking, oh, Bitcoin's going to separate from the stock market. Well, as of now, since, let's say, March of 2020, so roughly the top of the bull market, and this was the 69K top on Bitcoin. So this isn't Bitcoin price. This is Bitcoin versus the stock market exponentially. This is 69K top roughly right here, and this is the 64K top roughly right here. So since then, I mean, Bitcoin's been separating from the downward sense. Right? Bitcoin has. So if this chart were just flat, that means they're moving together. If this chart generally moves down, that means Bitcoin's separating from the stock market in a more bearish sense. It's underperforming it. Which means, relative to how Bitcoin used to outperform the stock market, it's performing against it weaker and weaker and weaker. Does that make sense? It's not looking great. But more recently down here, the last 36 days, let me go to the 4-hour chart now. It has been, there is an uptrend forming. And as I covered in the previous video, all this is happening very close to the point in the earliest, which I've covered on my channel multiple times. And again, you won't see this chart like this on anywhere else on the entire internet, because these are my origin lines for this very important chart, which are Nasdaq composite futures. And Bitcoin does not have a chance to separate, or even to separate from the stock market, thus, not really confirm a bottoms in. The earliest you can possibly do that is when line A is hit. And this loves messing. So TradingView just likes messing with this chart for some reason. Here we go. All right. So as you can see, the equator line is always hit. Whether you go too far above, like the .com bubble, where did it go down to? Line A. It actually overshot at line B, then raced right back up to it, went too high, went to line A again, and stayed in the, essentially like the equator and the tropic zones. It stayed in the equator tropic zones after overshooting it, went right back in. The 08 housing bubble, boom, went straight back to it raced right back to the tropic zones, used that as resistance, then used the equator as resistance, as broken above, retested line B. You can see, so it always goes back to line A, the bright blue one. Right. That's why, and I don't understand, even though I'm the only one with this specific chart, because I created it, but I just don't understand how, other analysts out there who are on the news and all this stuff, how can they not know this? Why are there people who have any authority behind what they say? How are they thinking the bottom's in on the stock market? It's very simple. Line A is going to be hit, and it's likely going to be overshot. Right. Okay. So that 36-day uptrend is happening right at the earliest moment. Bitcoin could separate from the stock market. But why could that be bearish? All right. So I already gave the bullish case on that. Why could that be bearish? All right. So if you haven't watched the other video yet, that's fine. But this is very in tune. This is essentially a different interpretation of the bullish case. So the bearish interpretation of this is, let's go down to Bitcoin. let's say it's Bitcoin will not separate from the stock market there, which I mean, it's the earliest it's really possible. I don't think it will. And I'm going to show you why in this video. But let's assume Bitcoin will not start outperforming the stock market when this hits here. And this chart that I showed you first, that I said is the most important chart in crypto, this chart will go back to a downtrend, and Bitcoin will continue underperforming the stock market relative to its previous performance to it. Okay, so that means this uptrend will be broken. All right, so that's the premise of this, and I'm going to show you why. From a whale perspective. Now I'm going to go to Bitcoin chart behind me. I know I'm big and you can't see the chart quite yet, but from a whale perspective, let's say the big bad theys, right? The theys, likely the same theys that printed the exact Wyckoff pattern out of a textbook on Bitcoin price in 2021. That group is some of the theys, but the big theys that are, high frequency trading algos and are responsible for 90% of the trading volume on Bitcoin, roughly. The theys already have an idea of how low they will allow Bitcoin to go. Let's just call it either 9,600, 12K, 14K, something like that, or maybe even 6K. I don't know. But let's just say the theys have a number in mind, right? And going back, actually now I'll have to go back to the Nasdaq composite chart. The theys and their risk management systems and all that stuff already know that line B actually will more likely be hit. But in order for Bitcoin not to go below where they want to have Bitcoin bottom, right? If they kept allowing Bitcoin to underperform the stock market, Bitcoin would undershoot, or I guess overshoot. So it'd go too far below that as Nasdaq Composite Futures hits this line. So the pacing is off, right? So the theys, because they kind of know that the stock market probably won't cool or stop going down until line B is hit, which is, in my opinion, very clear. That would be around 9,000 or 8,900 for Nasdaq. And I'm telling you, it's probably going to be hit. And it might be before New Year, but it's going to be, it could be even middle of next year, but I think it'll be closer to the New Year or just at maybe through March, Q1 of 2023. Anyway, so the pacing of Bitcoin, it's going down too fast compared to the stock market. The stock market's got to get from here to here, so they have to slow up Bitcoin as the stock market continues going down. So every time the stock market has been going down, which it has been recently, if we zoom in here, and I'll keep it price behind me here. I mean, it's been making fairly aggressive lower lows. Has Bitcoin? No, it hasn't gone below 17.5, which happened in June or something. Bitcoin's been holding on, which means that chart is going up. The first chart I showed you, right? So the theys are slowing down Bitcoin's move down because it would get to their number way too fast as the stock market or the Nasdaq hits line B. They're just slowing the rate of Bitcoin down. That's why that chart is going up, right? So let's say, for example, specific example, the theys don't want Bitcoin to go much under 12K. It could go to 9,600 on a wick, but let's just say a weekly closure around 12K. That is the big bad theys number. They already calculated, shoot, if we keep selling Bitcoin in perfect line, because usually the algorithms, if there's a 5-minute candle on Nasdaq and S&P, there's a 5-minute red candle on Bitcoin as well, right? It's almost to the exact candles. And you can see when they turn off the switch sometimes, literally, you can really, really see it. So let's say it's 12K, perhaps 9,600 on a wick, not controlling wicks, weekly closures. They already know, the theys know that as it comes down here at this rate, Bitcoin's going to go to like 7,100 or 6,100, and a weekly closure is going to be about 9,600. That's too low. So let's tune down the sell pressure, which our algos are. So the same algos selling, Nasdaq composite or blue chip on Nasdaq and S&P 500 composite and blue chip stocks within there. Let's make it sell a little less hard on Bitcoin. They turn down the volume essentially, right? On how it correlates with Bitcoin and the sell pressure it's creating. So they turned it down so the stock market can maybe get here, and once it comes back up, then once it maybe bounces off this line a little bit, then they'll turn it back up, and that would have the right rate for Bitcoin to hit their number as it descends here. Is that making sense from a whale perspective? All right, now let me show you stuff in the charts. Okay, here is a beautiful. Honestly, I hate to say it this way and kind of like sound weird about my own charts, but this really is a beautiful example. I'm going to go to the 4-day chart. I'm going to put on my what I call my long ribbons and my origin lines together. Actually, I might turn off my origin lines just for a second. And I actually might go to the index chart. There we go. See more of price history. There we go. All right, so check this out. Rainbow and a gray line. The blue line just came into existence on the 4-hour chart. Okay, let's say that the gray line was here. Boom, boom. Something like that. If we can extrapolate that a little bit. Here we go. So the bear market of 2013, 2014, which ended in early 2015, where did it hit? The gray line. Zoom in. The gray line. There you go. Bear market, done. Where did this end? The gray line. This is November 14th of 2018, where it capitulated down to 3,200, and in December of 2018, all of this was January and February of 2019. Gray line. Where did coronavirus go? A wick past the gray line, but no 4-day closure below it. See how the 4 days closed above? Wick down below. It was a big wick though, right? But it only lasted a couple hours. So their price actually did not live down here for very long. It might have been a day or two, but I would have to go to a different time frame to see how many hours or days it lived below there. But no closures. Okay, gray line. Even coronavirus. Look what's happening now. Bitcoin price is under it and using it as resistance. Totally different. Not only is it under it with candles closing, but it's already trying to recover back above it, and it's using it as resistance. And it's getting ready to fall off a cliff, right? So what's happening? This is kind of your visual. It's like the price of the sell pressure from algos are like, don't fall off this yet. We'll let go here in a minute, but we got to get the stock market a little lower before we let you go and just right? Look at this. Here, look, just look at it. Look at this. Look at the difference. Okay, zoom in. It's getting ready to drop hard. So it's essentially being propped up a little bit. This just get ready. This is pretty damn bad. All right. Now let's look at the monthly chart. So no EMAs or anything like that. No fancy indicators. Just go look at candles here. Look at this. You've formed a base here. And what's happening now? The month tried to use this as a base, but now this base is a resistance, and it's going under. And big money is like, not yet. We need to get the stock market lower, which is why Bitcoin has not made a low below this point here, which was your 17.5 low. But the stock market has made, is making aggressive lows, lower lows on the small term timeframes. I think it's right at its yearly low, which is similar to Bitcoin. But recently, the stock market, to get to its yearly low, has been making fairly aggressive local lows, and Bitcoin hasn't been because it has no room to, right? So another thing, like it's just being held up. It has no room to make aggressive local, small time frame lower lows without going below its yearly low, because the yearly low is right here. So Bitcoin's being held up, right? But per this monthly chart, though, if I were to make a line here, and actually I haven't I didn't test this before I made this video, but just assuming. So this cliff here, if I go to the small time frames, let's see what how much this line has been interacted with. Quite a bit. Look at this month, the battle. The battle was on this line. Can you see that? This is the hourly chart. So you can see how that line is being battled with. Bitcoin gave up a big bull, fairly aggressive bull trap. And then it came back below it, used it as resistance, went below it, wicked up to it, and is below it now. So the fight is over. Like the bear, like this, it doesn't look like it's going to get back above it for more than a wick or a small bull trap, some version of this, but you know, miniaturized. Like something a little smaller than this could happen to get it back above, something like that. I could see that happening, but it's already given up below that line, folks, like on a monthly scale. So we are looking at monthly, you know, importance on a small time frame. So you can see the importance of this freaking line on the monthly closures. So zooming into this area back from late August to current, the bears have won this battle. Can you see that? All right, now go back to the monthly chart. And so you can analyze. So what we just did is we took a microscope up to an insect's, you know, wing or a sliver or a slice of, you know, a leaf or something. We're seeing the cells. We just saw the cells of these candles. So you can understand the importance of this cliff here, of these candle bodies. One opening and then two closures. We have opening and closures here, right? And then this has already used it as resistance and has given up, but it's just being held up by a threat. It's being held up because Bitcoin will go too low under the big bad they's goal of 12K or whatever the they's are as the stock market's making new lows. All right, now let's go to the 5-day. Check it out. Look, so this is stochastic RSI normal settings. If we look at lower lows on when it crosses, I mean, just see, I mean, lower low cross about there, lower low cross. Look, this is probably a really good one. I'll make that one pink. This one's the most similar. And I'll make it a little bit more visible. There you go. Lower low cross. So again, what I'm doing is I'm now gonna go to the price chart, and you're gonna see like how big of a deal this is historically. Okay, that is about right. So now let's go to price. Ooh, it was actually most similar to the one that went up. Ooh, I should have put that on my bullish video. Ooh, damn, I missed that one on my bullish video on the 5-day. The 5-day said it actually could come up. All right, so in general, this is marking not the exact moment, but so out of 5 cases, so there were 5 cases here, right? And one of them, it actually was a macro reversal, which I've already made a video on that. I probably should have included that one on there, but I just didn't know. There are only so many things you can, you know, include on a video or just know. But so in general, the timing of this actually got it about right. The timing of this, it was when it only squeaked out higher highs. It was close to being right. And this is about the time I was bearish too. I started getting bearish in mid-March, right around the time that I called the B Pro top on camera. Like the exact same day as it was hitting almost the exact number. So the timing was a little bit off here, but it generally got boom. This one, the timing was very good. It got the exact first red candle. Boom. All right. So here we go. If this is the 6th time, and currently 4 out of 5 have been down, the probabilities are this is a macro potential move down, with the 5-day stochastic RSI getting ready to turn down. However, given this 2-part video series, I do see the bullish case, which is what I accidentally just found here as well. And again, I'm not going to edit the videos to copy and paste that over there, but a whoopsie doopsie on the bullish case popped up here. But there truly are some things in the charts that are saying Bitcoin could separate from the stock market. And so if you want to see the other reasons for that, go ahead and click this video right here. And if you want to see some of my most important crypto videos I've ever made, click this playlist right here. You just got Timified Worldwide. We'll see you next time.